So to some more news, Chicago Alderman Byron Sigcho-Lopez will not be punished amid a flag-burning scandal in the city council. Since last week, there have been calls for consequences after the alderman took part in a rally where an American flag was burned. NBC5's Christian Farr was at that meeting today.
There are 16 yeas, 29 nays. This motion fails.
During a special city council meeting this afternoon, a resolution to remove Alderperson Byron Sigcho-Lopez from his chair of the Housing and Real Estate Committee failed. A group of aldermen had called for his removal after the 25th Ward alderperson attended a protest last month where an American flag had been burned.
No one here is saying that our colleague burned a flag, but he chose to speak in front of it, and he chose to legitimize an organization. Yes, a veteran burned a flag.
An hour before this special meeting, a group protesting against the Israel-Hamas war burned a flag, and a Vietnam veteran tore another flag apart. The group offered their support to Sigcho-Lopez and criticized council members for targeting him.
This cowardly act by the city council is a thinly veiled pretext, part of a wave of repression.
I made my apologies clear. I have not condoned, I have not participated in any of those actions that unfortunately some of my colleagues claim.
Sigcho-Lopez spoke out during the special meeting, say he supported a military veteran's right to burn the flag, and yesterday spoke with 29th Ward Alderman Chris Taliaferro, who was one of the council members calling for his removal. And Taliaferro said he accepted Sigcho-Lopez's apology. Taliaferro was not upset with the flag burning, but instead the group Sigcho-Lopez stood with during that protest.
I agree that we need to continue to fight so that our wards are better and that the city are better. But I believe that we also have to look at how we do that.
At City Hall, Christian Farr, NBC5 News.
Mayor Brandon Johnson just put out a statement that reads, in part, I believe strongly in the democratic process and was pleased to see Alderman Sigcho-Lopez and Alderman Taliaferro reach a mutual understanding and moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. President. And first and foremost, let's remind us, and I'll try to ground all of us. It is Holy Week, and I think there's no greater lesson on this Holy Week than the resurrection of our faith in humanity. And I think that we've spoken, and I think we hear from veterans, right? Because I think this is the issue at hand. I think it's incredibly important, especially in this body, that we ground our conversations on facts and evidence, and not in propaganda or opinions. Some people here may have an opinion on First Amendment rights. That doesn't make it okay to try to strip anyone on the very same thing that veterans have fought for us, which is the First Amendment right. So make no mistake, this is an opportunity for the council to start doing the business of the city of Chicago, or continue to pander and to put the lives of people at risk. That's what I'm very grateful for Alderman Taliaferro, who met with me in good faith over the weekend. Actually, and that's what I bring it up. On Easter Sunday, we met. And we discussed how this pressure may have been presented and may feel some people. I hope now that you have heard from veterans directly. Veterans who also need housing, veterans who need mental health care, veterans that need your attention just as anybody other Chicago needs. Unfortunately, there are those agendas that want to keep us divided, that yesterday blamed the sanctuary city status for the conditions in our city, but forgot to mention the reason why we became a target of fascist Governor Abbott. It was the DNC. And common sense will say that the least that the party can do is to stop funding wars, to stop funding the inhumanity that this is, including for the veterans that have served with dignity and respect, protecting the First Amendment right. At least there's 2 colleagues of mine that need to have that conversation with me still. And I want to refer to Alderman Conway and Alderman Gil-Villegas, which I proactively reach out to so that we discuss this as adults that we are. But yet, I'm yet to listen, as I have apologized even for the way that may have presented on my actions. But one thing I'm not going to do is to condemn a veteran for using his First Amendment right. That I find reprehensible from veterans, not to listen to a veteran themselves. So, Alderman Conway and Alderman Villegas, I know that you have no regrets for having put my family at risk. I know that, because we discussed that on Sunday. But I tell you, right, that we do have a responsibility in this body to make sure that the lives of anybody are sacred. That's why I stand firm condemning the inhumanity or dehumanization of anybody. I make no apologies for standing for First Amendment rights. I think some of my colleagues need to have maybe a lesson of what First Amendment rights mean. But I tell you that in this body, I made my commitment, just as Alderman Taliaferro, to look for a different direction. But now what you see today, exposed are the forms and the tactics of division and irresponsibility, who do not have any care for human life. Because if there's no care for the life of myself and the 3 babies that I have at home, I find it hard to believe that some of these colleagues care deeply about veterans and Chicagoans the way they claim to be. So I challenge us today, and Alderman Taliaferro, to stop the political posturing, to stop the divisions that stop us from doing the work of working people, and start today in Holy Week to take the priorities that we hear today: housing, education, jobs. Our youth are literally dying. And the same guns that have been used on the south side and the west side are being used to kill people in Gaza. So today, you have my commitment to work with every single one of you to not only respect the Constitution, but when it's time to speak up and say that something's wrong, I would like to see my colleagues taking on this issue, just at the urgency that you can take in today. So again, I will make my remarks clear that if in any way, shape, or form my actions have offended anyone, especially veterans, I'll take full accountability. But not once, by no means, I'm going to condemn a veteran for using his First Amendment right. And furthermore, I do think that you have, and you have always had, my phone at your disposal when you want to talk about any veteran issue. Alderman Villegas knows that. Alderman Conway knows that. But when is it the time that we as a council, when is the time that we're listening to what's happening in the streets and put aside our differences or opinions to do the job of Chicagoans who need housing, especially in the black community? And I've been critical hard for those 20,000 homes in the west side of my colleague Emma Mitz, when they've been left hanging after declaring a natural disaster. I've been vocal as well as that. But one thing I'm not going to allow is to receive messages threatening my life, or worse, when we just saw 7 migrants killed in the bridge in Baltimore. Immigrants, we like it or not, also making a difference. Palestinians in our city, building the city, their small businesses, and they don't deserve to be dehumanized. But worse, I find this reprehensible when we find in our voice messages that say wetbacks do not deserve the First Amendment right. And I find that reprehensible. So today, you got my commitment. As I made my apologies clear, I have not condoned, I have not participated in any of those actions that unfortunately some of my colleagues claim. And at the same time, I'm not condemning a veteran for his First Amendment right. So I want to make clear, because these facts have become a little bit fuzzy when it's convenient. And I urge all my colleagues to work together, every single one of us. I have even one of my colleagues who was there before me and said, look, I probably would have seen anything either. But this conversation is not about that. Make it loud and clear. This conversation is about keeping the status quo, because there are those of us who are not complicit and have every right to express our opinions. I hope that in the council we found in this Holy Week not only the mercy, the compassion, but also the determination to tackle together the many issues that our city is facing when we are under attack. I appreciate the opportunity to engage with every single one of you to discuss any concerns or any issues that you have. But to distract us from the real issues in the city is a disservice to Chicagoans, and to try to infringe on First Amendment rights, it is a really dangerous precedent, because every Chicagoan and every American has a First Amendment right. And you have heard from veterans that I had the privilege to serve and talk and discuss and bring together. So I hope that the next step is bringing us all together, Alderman Taliaferro with all the veterans, so that we look for a better way to addressing this without putting anybody's lives at risk. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you.